Welcome back to Hippie Bliss Travel. Today is the day everybody dreads on their vacation, the day they have to head home. So we're leaving Santa Barbara. It's kind of, a light drizzle, not that bad. And, being from Portland, the Portland metro area, gas prices, we're still paying, four, $4 roughly. So we'd always heard about the gas prices in California, heard $5, $6. Well, through our whole vacation, we hadn't uh paid under $5 a gallon. We didn't even, 4.50, between 4 and 4.50 actually. They weren't much higher than here at home. Well, this day we're leaving and we needed some gas and we didn't want to get any gas by right by the hotel because it was close to $5. So we, started heading and we're heading to Solvang. We're going to make a little quick stop on in the town before we head home. And so we're like, oh, we need some gas. So we started driving and we got a couple miles and we saw gas for like 4.30. We're like, right on. It's like 50 cents a gallon cheaper than by the hotel. So we stop and fill up and we're all, kind of excited about, well, not super excited about heading home, but. And we go about 20 minutes down the road and it was like 4:09 and we're like, darn it. But that was the worst of our issues that day was the price of gas that we didn't get the 409 gas. And this our vacation is what mid June, beginning to mid June here. And yeah, this is a nice drive. Yeah, we had the rain and then they saw the fog and then it kind of just was a nice overcast drive all the way to Solvang. Anyway, here we are getting into town and neither of us had been here and the only reason we're stopping is because I kept reading on things to do in Santa Barbara, and this came up as a nearby, day trip. And they talked about a Danish town, a authentic Danish town. So you got to check it out. And we got into town, I don't know, what was it, around 9 o'clock maybe? It was quite early. We had breakfast at the hotel before we left. And if I remember right, this was like a Wednesday morning, if I'm thinking, yeah, because we got home from our trip Thursday, yeah. So some interesting facts when you go to Chat GPT, just put in some interesting facts about Solvang. And it means sunny field in Danish, and the town was founded in 1911 by a group of Danish Americans who wanted to escape the harsh Midwest winters and preserve their cultural heritage. The town is famous for its Danish-style buildings. They have windmills, half-timbered homes, cobblestone streets, and thatched roofs. Even the newer modern buildings are designed to match the Danish architecture. And it sits in the Santa Ynez Valley. I guess it's a wine growing region. And there are over 20 tasting rooms in town, it says. They have an outdoor theater that was built in the 1974 and it hosts plays, concerts, and events, and it is home to the Pacific Conservatory Theater during the summer. Just some little interesting facts for you today. But yeah, here we are driving around, and you can see the buildings. You know, it's got a Danish feel to it. Most of the shops were closed because it was so early. It was 9ish, and a lot of them opened at 10. So, and we weren't the only ones that came to town. Quite a few of us were walking around looking in the windows and looking at the architecture. Uh, Very interesting town. We talked about it. We'd like to come back and spend some more time just exploring the town and the area. And then here we just got out and parked and we just walked around and looked at some buildings and window shopped. Now, the one problem we did have is the few shops that were open were bakeries. So as you walked down the streets, you could just smell uh,
Okay, that's cool.
whatever pastries or whatever they were making, and oh, it smelled so wonderful. But since we had breakfast at the hotel before we left, we weren't hungry. But oh, you had some wonderful smells that morning. Yeah, so I was looking up if they have like some festivals or something like that. So there's Solvang Danish Days, 3 days in mid-September. It's a celebration of Danish heritage, parades, Danish food, folk music, dancing, and entertainment crafts. They said Viking themed fun. And then they have Jewel Fest, which is late November through early January, which is a holiday season festival with lights, tree lighting, parade markets, festival tours, and a general Christmas New Year celebration. They did have like a parking area with like restrooms and then like a map of the town. And walking through town, we did not know they have a mission too. It's the old mission of Santa Ynez, founded in 1804, and it's the 19th of the 21 Spanish missions built in California. It is one of the most well preserved of the 21 California missions, and it is the first European settlement in the Santa Ynez Valley. Now, the actual mission and stuff wasn't opened either yet, but they had these gardens, and so we walked around the gardens, spent it was a nice half hour or so, very relaxing and peaceful. And then when you walked out the gate, you're right back in town. It's right in the center of I don't know if it's downtown, but of the tourist area. So after the mission, we're walking by this bakery and we come across a sign. Once upon a time, 1,000 years ago, there was a king of Denmark named Form the Old. All through the years, his family has ruled the oldest kingdom of the world, and the present Queen Margrethe II is a descendant of old King Form. Now, I hope I pronounced those names right because I checked with Google and that's how they said to pronounce them. So if it's incorrect, apologies. But then next to the sign is attached like these wooden paintings of the rulers of Denmark all the way back to Form the Old. Now I know the queen I think has passed the torch to her son Frederick, I think his name is. And so his painting has been added. But yeah, it was very interesting to see, and just almost like in an alleyway next to it's on the side of a bakery. And as it got closer to 10 o'clock, you could start seeing people were gathering near certain businesses that they were waiting to open at 10. And I think a majority of the shops were opening at 10. And we were wanted to go, oh, this was a pretty good deal. If you liked wine, buy a case, get a second case for $1. We like wine, but we're not big drinkers, so 2 cases of wine would last us probably 10 years. And yeah, there was a shop we wanted to go into because we collect the kitchen magnets for the fridge, and there was one that my husband wanted to go look at. And when they opened, we went in, and I don't know, there was maybe a half dozen of us that all went in the shop right when they opened, and we bought 1 or 2 kitchen magnets, I think. And then we started to head out of town to continue our trip home. Love the town, love the vibe, the bakeries, the smell from the bakeries was just but yeah, would come back and want to spend some more time exploring the region, go check out a couple wineries. Yeah, we were at the shop talking with the cashier as he was ringing us up. He found out we were from the Portland area, and he was telling us that they've had numerous friends that have moved from there up to Portland to work as in the construction field because they said they can make more money in Portland than what they can make in town anywhere. And he said the only reason he hasn't left is he goes, I have too much family in the area. He goes, I don't want to leave them. He goes, I enjoy them. Yeah, so here we are heading out of town. And we're heading basically to I-5. I forget which highway we're on. But we didn't head to I-5 from Santa Barbara because we knew we wanted to make a stop here in the Solvang. So now it's just we're heading to I-5 and then we're going to go north. We'll see how far we can get. We're hoping to get to Reading tonight. Yeah, if you see on the left there, all the is it the Ryder box trucks? We had passed numerous of them, and I think we were counting at one point, we counted over 20. They're all pretty close together. There's a couple stragglers, and then once I turned the camera off because I thought they were done, uh, three, four more showed up like a minute later. No idea where they're going. I'm assuming they're just moving them from one area to another. Don't know if they're full or not. Not a clue. And then another stretch in California you hit. We still haven't made I-5 yet. We're still heading that direction. But we've gone miles without seeing anything. And this intersection coming up, there's just a convenience store, gas station, bathrooms, very busy happening place because we even pulled over. We went to the restroom, got a nice cold drink. I think maybe candy bar or something like that. Hopped back on the road and off we went. We were there maybe less than 15 minutes. But it was a wonderful air conditioned building because I think it was probably close to mid to upper 90s, I think. I don't think it was quite 100. And here we are now on I-5 heading north. We did make it to Reading well, we got there in time for dinner, which was our goal. And so we stayed on the north side of town at the Best Western Twin View Inn and Suites. And after being in the car all day with, mid to upper 90s, an air conditioning room was wonderful. Yes, yes, we have air conditioning in the car, but spending hours in the car when you're doing a road trip, even when it's hot, you still like the air conditioning and get out, stretch your legs a little bit. And if you've watched my channel a few times, you know I am notorious for getting to take pictures of the outside of the motel. Again, I could have sworn I took some photos when we were leaving or when we got there. And here's our room. Lovely room, very comfortable. And then they had the thick sun blinds they had down, so the room wasn't hot with the sunlight filled. So that was nice. We did get a king size bed, and a lot of times we're finding out when I'm booking hotels and stuff, A one king bed room is a lot of times just a few dollars cheaper than other rooms. So we decided to go to dinner, and crispy, crunchy chicken is where we decided to go. And if you looked at the website, it says it's open till 10. It was nearby the hotel. So we, head on over. We relaxed for a little bit, headed on over. It turns out the convenience store that it's in is open till 10. And she was just she had closed, but she still had some food that she hadn't gotten rid of yet. And it was still good. It was, still hot. It was fairly, made the last batch. So we got some chicken, some meals to go, and then we took them back to the hotel. She kind of overloaded, gave us like extra chicken and stuff, so we had enough for dinner that night. It was our lunch on the way home the next day, and then I think one more day we had enough chicken. And this is the maze how we had to get out of the hotel. It was a cool, it only had one elevator, but it was like they built one wing and then that went like east west, and then they added on at some point another section that went north south. So it was kind of a maze to wander through the motel. And yeah, this was the only elevator. After we had breakfast, they did have a free breakfast. Breakfast was included. It was a nice, you saw the waffle makers and stuff. So it was, a very nice selection of stuff. And no, my husband wasn't carrying everything. I did have a suitcase and a couple bags too. So I don't want you to think I was, making him be a pack mule and carry everything. The heavy thing is the cooler, which has, a half dozen drinks, 10, sodas and some like iced tea and stuff. But then we put some ice on it. We don't fill the chest, but we have some Ziploc, like gallon-sized bags. We fill one and then lay that on top of the cooler for the day. But after, yeah, we checked out, we continued north. This is Mount Shasta. There's like a viewpoint area. And as we were walking up, we discovered that there's some facts, question and answer facts in the sidewalk. So, how tall is Mount Shasta? And then you go to the next block, 14,162 feet above sea level. How far away can you see Mount Shasta? On a clear day, Mount Shasta can be seen from Crater Lake, Oregon, almost 150 miles away. When did Mount Shasta last erupt? In the late 1700s. Are there glaciers on Mount Shasta? Yes, there are 7 glaciers on the mountain. How many people try to climb to the top of Mount Shasta? About 15,000 a year. How many make it to the summit of Mount Shasta? About one in every 3, so basically a third. And then as we were driving, we passed a sign on the road. It said the Weed Store Souvenirs. So we had to pull over because the town, it is Weed, California. There is, it's souvenirs with the town name on it. So it's t-shirts, stickers, kitchen magnets. We did purchase some souvenirs. We got, I think, a t-shirt, a kitchen magnet, some stickers. And then afterwards, we got back on the highway and continued on home. I think we have crossed into Oregon maybe at this point. Either that or we're just going to cross into Oregon. But then this wraps up our vacation. we were gone, what, almost 2 weeks. I want to say 12 days. Was it 2,600 miles we drove? So thank you for watching Hippie Bliss Travel and coming along. If you made it to the end, give us a like and a subscribe. And I hope to see you next week. Bye.